All right, so today I want to talk about how to nail down what you need to focus on, delegate, or stop doing certain things. So, as you know, decision fatigue is real. It really affects different parts of our day, our week, our month. Our lack of energy and focus leads to making poor decisions. Now, what does that mean? It means that at one point in your day, when your brain is so tired of making decisions over and over again, you'll start to become more reaction in your decisions rather than being able to pause, reflect, answer, even if that's pretty simultaneous for some things. You'll start making poorer decisions just because you want to get over it. That could mean choosing something that's not necessarily nutritious for your body in that moment. I'm not going to make you put down the chocolate bar. I love chocolate. It just normally means, like, instead of a chocolate bar, maybe you should have an actual lunch. It could also look like giving an answer to one of your team members that wasn't actually the correct answer because you were so tired of answering questions, you didn't actually fully look at the question, listen to the question, whichever way that they're giving you the question. And then that will cause problems later on when they do something that you think is not the way you wanted them to do it, but they did ask you about it. You were just too tired to make those decisions. Now, let's take a typical day. Typical days can be you wake up, you have to decide to wake up for a lot of us. You may have to decide what to wear if you didn't do it the night before, which I recommend. Decide what to eat, decide when you're going to start checking your email. And when you get into email, decide what to answer, decide. It just keeps going forever. So if you can start lessening some of your decisions, that actually will help you with decision fatigue throughout the day. So for me, I try to set myself up the night before. I already know what I'm going to eat for breakfast. I actually eat the same thing for breakfast every morning just because I'm boring right now. But it helps me so much because I don't wake up hangry. The day before, I also decide what I'm wearing, or sometimes I actually decide it over the next 7 days. Then I don't have to decide every single night. I will decide also on my planning on, I'll take one night during the week and whatnot, and I'll plan the next week. I also already know what I'm doing that day, so I don't have to make any decisions there of when I'm doing what. I already have that decided for me. So all of my decisions for the day is like ground zero, and I can make better decisions throughout the day. Now, other things affects this, of course, especially if you're a woman on your period and everything just is very overwhelming, very overstimulating. And that's okay. That's normally when I say if you can schedule some time off, that's the best time to do it. You can just relax into yourself and work on things at a slower pace. And that's totally okay. All right, let's talk about some steps. I'm going to go with 3, and I'm going to go with the number 3 later on too, to go from stress to success. First, we're going to identify some big wins. Next, you're going to discover some activities that you do regularly that could lead up to big wins or could lead up to other wins. And then you're going to categorize everything we talked about. So, first, your big wins. Big wins can be anything in the last, let's just go with 6 months. And then you can also add any future big wins that you have planned. This could look like you earned an award at work, or you finally got that spot in a podcast as a guest that you've been wanting to forever. It could be that you talked on stage for the first time. It could be ongoing things like taking violin classes or spending time with your family. Any of those can be added to your big wins list. Next, we're going to go into activities. Now, no matter if they lead to those big ones or not, just start listing activities that you do on a regular basis. Sleeping, eating, social media, emailing, traveling, meetings, all of those things. Cleaning, commuting, volunteering, anything that you can think of, you can make that list. Now I want you to categorize them. I'm going to go with the number 3 again here. So 3 categories. Things only you can do, things somebody else can do, and things you should stop doing. I know, scary. For example, taking a shower does not fall under things somebody else can do, which I hope somebody else is doing it, but for themselves. They cannot take a shower for you, unfortunately. But like maybe outsourcing your social media would be something someone else can do. There might be some things where it might fall in 2 categories, or it might just be like a little bit of yours still, but the majority is somebody else's category. For example, social media. I will take me as an example. I still record these videos, but my social media manager helps me with the captions and posts them and does all the things with them. So it's not all on me, but I got the parts I could get off of me. And then as you're going through your activities list, you might have only thought of things that you like doing. This is a good part to start thinking about things that you might have left off of that list, because these are the things you should probably stop doing, and your brain already knows that by excluding them from the list. So this is a good time to add those in, because you want to see them to make sure you actually stop doing them. Now we're going to prioritize them. So you may have seen some other ways to prioritize things, but I'm going to kind of shake it up a bit in a very small way, but a very meaningful way. So your first priority is things only you can do. These are things that you may do every day or on a regular basis, like sleep, eat, hygiene, medical appointments, things that don't directly contribute to your big wins, but a requirement to keep you productive and functional, healthy, and happy. So those are your first priority. Everything else doesn't matter. If you don't take care of you as a priority, everything else is going to crumble. So make sure that's your first priority. Your second priority are things that are big wins or will lead to big wins, plus only you can do. Those would be your second priority. So if you have a big win about speaking on stage, then a lot of that is on you because you're the one that's going to be speaking on stage. That is your second priority. Now your third priority, that's going to be big wins again, plus things someone else can do. So these are important activities that you need to keep doing, but they're things that you can be delegating to someone else. Whether that means hiring somebody for a few weeks or working to delegate better in general, you need to work hard to protect your time, not to personally take on all of these third priority items, because you can give it to someone else. And things that are not a priority are things that you should stop doing. So I'll give you an example for me. Earlier this year, I decided that I'm not going to post on my Facebook page anymore. I like Instagram and LinkedIn a lot better, and I also tend to hang out in Facebook groups, but my Facebook page was honestly just wasting time for me. So even with my social media manager, we decided together we're just not going to post on my Facebook page anymore. That is something we just took off the table. And that gives us the opportunity to focus more and a lot better on the platforms that are better for me to show up on. So that's one example in business. In life, it could be that maybe, this might be hard to hear, you may have a friend that's a lot more transactional with you and that you actually don't want to hang out with anymore because you just have to hang out with them to hang out with them. Maybe it's time you stop doing that because they're not giving you something. As in, even hanging out with them doesn't give you any joy anymore, not necessarily giving you gifts or anything. That's something you could stop doing or at least lessen of so you can focus more time on your other priorities, including resting, eating, and all of that. So if you want to plan these out, there's different ways to do it. Everybody's a different planner. My favorite way to plan is using a Trello board with all of my goals mixed with calendar. So I block time out for certain goals, either buckets of times or that direct priority. And that's how I keep track of everything and making sure that I actually protect time to actually do it. Yes, all of my lunches are on my calendar. My downtime is on my calendar. All of that is protected. So if I know that, Thursdays are a very long day, I have a longer lunch because I normally take a nap. And that's okay because that is my first priority, to make sure that I am rested, happy, and healthy. So what are your priorities? What's something that you learned? I would love to hear it in the comments.